Molly Pesci, and this is Barnes & Noble Tagged. Father's Day is fast approaching, and we have some wonderful tags for Dad, which might just include the Barnes & Noble Recommends selection. That's a book that our booksellers have deemed unputdownable. And when Barnes & Noble recommends, readers listen. Many of the picks, like Sandra Dallas's Prayers for Sale and Ethan Kanan's America, America, have become instant bestsellers. So we are very excited to announce that the debut novel from Katherine Howe, The Physic Book of Deliverance Dane, is the latest Barnes & Noble Recommends selection. Katherine Howe's ancestors settled in Essex County, Massachusetts in the 1620s and stayed there through the 20th century. Although she grew up in Texas, Katherine continued to be drawn back to Salem and witchcraft. And it was while walking her dog in the woods near Salem that she was inspired to write her novel, The Physic Book of Deliverance Dane. Katherine Howe is here with us in the studio to tell us about her fascinating past and her unputdownable book. Katherine Howe, you've been tagged. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me, Molly.
So your book is really, I'm about a third of the way through, and I'm really enjoying it, but I was so struck by the idea, because it is about the Salem witch trials. Mm-hmm. It's modern and back and forth. Mm-hmm. But you actually have ancestors that were tried as witches, correct?
It's true. Elizabeth Howe, who came from Topsfield, was one of the first women who was actually hanged. She was actually put to death. And Elizabeth Proctor is a person that people might be a little more familiar with because she was characterized in The Crucible. Mm-hmm. And so happily she survived. But they're far back there, but they do exist.
Now, all right, we've got to talk about the book. It's called The Physic Book of Deliverance Dane.
The Physic Book of Deliverance Dane tells the story of Connie Goodwin, who is a Harvard graduate student in American history. And the beginning of the book has her taking her oral qualifying exams for her doctorate, which is something that I had to go through and which is actually pretty nerve-wracking.
It's nerve-wracking just reading about it, let alone actually doing it.
And what Connie does is, through a series of circumstances, she has to go back to her grandmother's house in Marblehead, Massachusetts, which is one town over from Salem. And Connie makes a surprising discovery there that leads her to suspect that maybe one of the Salem witches wasn't innocent after all.
What is the Physic Book? What does that mean?
Physic is an archaic term for medicine from the colonial period. And so basically this is a time that pre-exists the scientific revolution. So the borderline between science, medicine, and faith is a little bit blurry. Mm-hmm. So your Physic book might have herbal remedies, but it would probably also have charms in it that you might be able to look up.
Because there was no scientific method, there was no diagnosis
Right, not so much. And so a Physic book was kind of like a book of household remedies. And a lot of it would be familiar to us today who've tried herbal medicine perhaps, but a lot of it would be very arcane.
Huge honor for your book. It's been selected as a Barnes & Noble Recommends selection, and which means that a lot of our booksellers love your book, and they are the best judges of great literature, in my opinion, of all times. And one of them said something I found really interesting. She said, read this book and feel history being rewritten. What does that mean to you?
One thing that informed my writing of the book was when we think about the Salem Panic, we usually think about the accusers, the panicking little girls, or we think about people who've been wrongly accused. One thing we don't think about is the fact that in 1692, everyone who was involved in this trial, the accusers, the accused, the judges, the theologians, everybody believed witchcraft was real. And these people weren't crazy. They just occupied a system of thought totally different from ours. So we tend to blame them for not being able to think like 20th century people. Mm-hmm. But it's not fair, I feel.
I also wanted to ask you one other thing about the fact that this was actually a part of the First Look book club.
It was.
Tell me about that, because that's a really fun thing that they do at Barnes & Noble.
The First Look book club was such a great experience, especially for me who's a first-time novelist. Mm-hmm. It was a chance for people to sign up early so that the book wasn't out yet, so they got an early advanced reading copy of it. And then they had a month-long discussion of it online. And for me, the best part, I have to say, was this was the first time Physic book had been read by anyone outside, basically, of my family. Yeah. And so I got to have some feedback from actual readers. And so as a writer, knowing that being able to enter into a dialogue with readers was colossally rewarding. I just had a wonderful time with it.
Well, it seems like you've totally succeeded. We thank you so much, Katherine. The book is called The Physic Book of Deliverance Dane. You can get it right now, and it's really wonderful.
Thank you so much, Molly. This was really fun.
Thank you. Here's a tagged close-up that's sure to get your grill going. Perfect for Father's Day and all year long. Good thing it's got so many delicious photos for you to savor, because the actual meals are sure to disappear before your very eyes. Dad's Awesome Grilling Book by Bob Sloan offers tasty recipes, sage advice, and witty reflections in this ultimate tribute to the glory of guys and their grills. With the help of mouth-watering images shot by New York photographer Antonis Achilles, Bob shows us how easy it is to transform fresh ingredients into more than 100 sizzling, delicious dishes like Chicago-style hot dogs, barbecued game hens under the brick, shrimp and smoked sausage kebabs, and more. In addition to these family-impressing dishes, this essential grilling book serves up tips on keeping it simple when it comes to tools, how to choose between charcoal and gas, and why no one can ever have too many serving dishes. Gentlemen, start your grills! And that's our tagged close-up. Still fumbling around for a Father's Day gift? Well, here are my top tags for dads and the people who love them. Sitting sweet at number 5 is Secret, Profane, and Sugarcane, the latest album from Elvis Costello. It's the result of a 3-day recording session in Nashville and includes collaborations with luminaries like Loretta Lynn and Emmylou Harris. Born to be my number 4 tag is The Born Deception. With permission from the Robert Ludlum estate, Eric Van Lustbader keeps the popular series alive. The Born Deception picks up where the Bourne Sanction left off, with Jason Bourne in his struggle to survive, often reversing the role of the hunter and the hunted. Always suspenseful at number 3 is the latest from the best-selling master of suspense, Dean Koontz, and it is Relentless. Koontz delivers another mesmerizing thriller that explores the razor-thin line between the best and worst of human nature. Making my day at number 2 is Clint Eastwood's latest acclaimed movie, Gran Torino, available on DVD and Blu-ray. Eastwood stars in and directs this stirring drama about a bigoted Korean War vet forced to confront his own lingering prejudice when a troubled Hmong teen from his neighborhood tries to steal his Gran Torino. And speeding into my number 1 spot this week is Go Like Hell by Playboy executive editor A.J. Bain. It's the dramatic true story of young Henry Ford II's quest to beat Ferrari at Le Mans, racing's most glamorous and dangerous event. I can't think of a dad who wouldn't want this racy read for Father's Day. And those are my top tags. I can see why the Physic Book of Deliverance Dane is being described as spellbinding. It gives you chills, like walking through a cemetery on a cloudy day. To learn more about this and other Barnes & Noble recommends, go to bn.com/recommends. Thanks so much for watching Barnes & Noble Tagged.